Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out Transport Fever 2. This is a game that you can currently find on Steam for about 40 bucks. There's also a deluxe edition, which is slightly more that I don't own. I'm sure it adds a couple of new things to the game that, standard version doesn't have. So I did cover this game a while ago. I think it was back in 2021, and I was asked to revisit the game because it had undergone some major updates since then, and there was even an update last month. It says actually on the Steam store page, the final update for Transport Fever 2 is on its way, and it goes on to say that, Transport Fever 2 was released on consoles, and it looks like the biggest usability improvements that they're looking to include involves better snapping options for road construction, right angles, 45-degree junctions are easier, more intuitive. Also, a cross-platform mod support for PS5, Xbox Series, and all PC versions. So, yeah, like I said, they've been updating this game over the course of time, and, I came back to it, and I enjoyed my experience with it. What you're going to do in this game, there's a campaign, or you can play in the sandbox. I like the sandbox. You can pretty much set it up how you want. There's temperate, dry, and tropical climates. You can also set the type of vehicles that you'll be interacting with, either the European, the USA, or the Asia vehicles. So, if you're a train buff and you're familiar with different train models, you might be interested in this. And also, you can set the time period among a lot of other things. For example, you can set your maximum loan interest, so you can make the game easier or harder if you want to. I recommend tuning things down a bit because as a new player, it's very easy to go into the red. Maintenance costs are a big thing in this game. Like, you might be tempted to make a train right out of the gate, and if you make it in such a way to where it's not profitable, you're pretty much done. You have to start over, unless you take out a huge loan or delete it right away. You know what I mean? But yeah, you can set your year, your difficulty, and various things like that. Once you actually get into the game, you'll find, and this is kind of something I was hoping they would have improved on, there's not a whole lot of commodities. It's pretty much just an open map. You've got towns and production buildings. And what you're going to be doing in this game is creating lines that run between these various buildings. So you might have a farm that produces wheat. Okay, well, now you've got this production building over here that turns wheat into bread. Oh, but in town, they want bread. So now you're creating a series of lines going from the wheat to bread, and then the bread over to town. And that's like, what, 3 stops? So you can do one of two things with that. You could create a single line going from wheat to bread, and then another line going from bread to town, or you can make it one giant line. You can also assign trucks to that particular route. Certain trucks, however, they can only haul certain things. So you have to make sure that you're picking the right vehicles to haul the right cargo. Once you get into the later years, like 1980, I guess, and beyond, you'll have access to trucks that are they're super expensive, but they can pretty much haul anything. What's cool in this game is, like I said, you can set the time period. And, from my revisit, I did the 1980s plus, and just so I could see the newer vehicles. But if you set the time period to the 1800s, you'll see a horse and buggy, and it can only hold 4 cargo each. So you have to create 10 vehicles, 10 horse and buggies just for a single line. Otherwise, you're just not going to get anywhere with it. Whereas, in the 1980s, one truck is enough for a single line because it can hold, say, 40 cargo, whatever. You can also create roads in this game, in addition to railways and stuff. And what's really important that most beginners probably won't realize is that the contour lines of the map matter. If you go into contour lines mode, you can see where the slopes are. And if you try and just draw a line through a mountain, the game will automatically create tunnels, and it gets super expensive. So what you want to do is create short road segments that go along with the road or on flat surfaces so that you're not spending as much money. You can also draw over bridges, of course, but primarily, you want to be mindful of the roads that you're creating. And again, it costs a lot of money too to put these depots down. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting this, it's like a small storage area, and it'll highlight all buildings within its radius. Pretty much anything that building produces will just automatically be deposited into that transport depot. And again, that's where you set your lines. You go from one depot to another depot to another depot until your line is done, and then you assign vehicles to that line and off you go. It takes some getting used to, and not only can you do cargo, but you can do passengers as well. And this is where the time periods start to matter, because in like 1800s, horse and buggy, it's not very fast. Okay, it's going to take a long time for people to get from one town to the other. Trains are super important in the older time periods because they were faster, whereas in the 1800s, people have vehicles, cars, and the like. So if they get from one town to another pretty fast, and you create a train that gets there slower between the two towns, the train is going to lose a ton of money, because people in this game, they prefer the shortest route possible. If they can get there on their own by driving and it's fastest, then they'll do it. And, they won't automatically use the line that you created for them. So, like, time period matters, how quickly people get from one place to another, how efficiently you set up the lines, all of that matters. And I like playing, I like setting everything up in this game. Like, I like creating the bus lines in the town. There's residential, commercial, industrial, so you're creating lines that way. You could potentially add a line to a nearby train station so that, the bus route picks everyone up in town, then goes by the train station, drops everyone off, and then the train trucks everyone to their other destination. But like I said, if the train's not profitable, you're going to lose a ton of money. You can do boats and airplanes as well in this game, so that's kind of cool too, albeit very expensive. So it's super important to have your economy set up first with smaller routes, like smaller land routes, and then go into the bigger stuff. All in all, like, my revisit wasn't bad. I still prefer Railway Empire and Railway Empire 2 only because there's like a tech tree in there. As you play the game, you earn tech points and you can improve that way. Whereas in this game, you automatically unlock things as you play based on what year it is. There's also quests and the like in Railway Empire. It's more railway focused, obviously, but both games do the same thing. You're trying to improve the towns by delivering goods to them. But it's cool watching the city grow over time. As you're fulfilling its needs, you'll see new buildings being constructed and the like. So that's a lot of fun. I recommend this game on a sale only because I feel like the amount of commodities in this game is pretty limiting. I mean, I was expecting a bit more. It's just, every time I play this game, it's like everything's randomly thrown all over the place. And like, when you look at it from a bird's eye view, you only see like 4 or 5 immediate routes. And then from there, you have to try and figure out what's going to be your next step. And there's not a whole lot of commodities to work with either. So, it's just, I wish there was a way to customize what resources you start with on the map and so on. Luckily, there is a map editor and there is Steam Workshop. So you can actually mess around with other people's creations. There's a map editor, so you can make your own map. I would recommend maybe checking that out. It's not something I've done, but I can see that being heavily used for people that don't like the randomness of whatever map you're given. So anyway, there you go. That was Transport Fever 2. Still recommended on a sale. $40 is a bit expensive considering that Railway Empire is roughly $20 at this point. So if you're looking for like something cheaper, Railway Empire is your best bet. But again, when this game goes on sale, it's not a bad simulator, all things considered, but it could have been more than what it was, and I'm hoping that maybe Transport Fever 3 in the future, assuming there is going to be one, will fix some of those problems. Well, this is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.